Hi friends, I'm the vegan. I'm making you dessert today with persimmons. And I once made a dessert with persimmons. I made several ones, even a persimmon pie then, a cream pie, delicious. And that was very simple, just persimmons basically, nothing else. And here I try something with pears. Persimmon and pear are a nice pairing because the flavor of both is at the same time subtle but characteristic too. And I began persimmon just combining with pears, as I didn't want to go too far away from the persimmon like I would have done with oranges, for example, in earlier time. I had made a persimmon orange combination, very delicious, but that was very far away from the persimmon. The flavor was different, but the color was similar. With pear it's different. I try now again, the persimmon, two persimmons with two pears, both ripe. Oops. Or something. Sometimes the persimmon has a little black corner. Then you cut it out, especially when you leave them in the room on the shelf to ripen. And it's good. Persimmons can be bought inexpensive, and then they have to ripen at home. It takes sometimes a week or two even when they turn nice, and then sometimes they have the brown dots, and I cut them out. That's no problem. So I have a pear and a persimmon here, and vanilla powder. That is pretty also in that direction. There are some complex flavors, or some flavors in that complex persimmon flavor. If you combine it with pear, I begin to taste in direction of almonds and vanilla. So that is a very nice, not yet citrus. Citrus would be completely different. I stay here in this layer, the first layer of my dessert, just persimmon, the pear, and vanilla to get this complex of flavors a little bit more elaborate. So I blend it now. It's my first layer. There are so many interesting aspects of the persimmon fruit I already found. A fascinating fruit. The flavor is very gentle, as I said before, explained before, but then there is also the texture. It's very fascinating. If I blend persimmon just by itself, it turns into firm pudding. Even it was very ripe in the beginning to soft, almost liquid, blending makes it softer, firm into pudding. And now I have a little bit of this here. The pear is very different from the persimmon, but the texture is wholly different, because if you see, you blend the persimmon with a pear, and what happens is it doesn't get firm at all. Without pear, it will be really firm. This is a little bit firm only. My first layer, as I said, here with this pudding. I have to taste it. I forgot to taste it. Yeah. Oh, very nice. The pear is there, and that goes close to the persimmon, and the vanilla even tops it. That's perfect. I make a second glass because I have a little bit more from the pudding. The rest, I will put the rest into a bowl from before, because I need the blender right away. I need it again for my second layer. There will be some citrus fruit in there, in the second layer. But I don't need to wash the blender now. The blender has a little bit of the persimmon pear flavor in itself, but it is a very gentle flavor, and it goes very nice with the next flavor, next layer, which is a little bit stronger. I have bananas at the base. That goes very nice with persimmon, no problem. So 2 bananas. Or 3, I have 3 bananas. And I have an almond here, a handful of almonds. So it gets a nice and creamy texture, this layer. It will be creamy. And at the same time I have this banana flavor, which also goes into the direction of the vanilla. The almond also is very similar to vanilla. And the third part here in the second layer is lemon. The lemon, is one lemon, is perfect together with banana. But here comes the citrus fruit in. The citrus fruit brings a completely new flavor. It's not comparable with almond and not comparable with the pear and with the persimmon. It's totally different, as for my feeling. But it pairs wonderfully with almond, it pairs nicely with banana, perfectly, and it also pairs nicely with the persimmon. But it is a different flavor, so that is the justification for me to put it in a second layer. Again, I use the blender. Yeah. It overrides the persimmon flavor, so I can leave a little bit of persimmon in the blender. Let's see. I might have to use a little bit of water. I will see that later. Blender dance. Different now in the first layer, so it's a visible difference, but we can see from the color already that the flavor family is pretty close. It's a different one, but it's close. Now the texture and the flavor, let's see. Lemon and almond, that's the thing here. Wonderful. The idea is also a little bit inspired by caramel. The caramel is mainly of nuts or dates. You can make it with nuts and dates. You can use a little bit of salt to make a salted caramel. Depends on the nuts, of course. I could take pine nuts for a caramel, a salted caramel. That is delicious. But generally the idea is to take a lot of nuts, to blend it with a sweet, soft texture like dates or bananas too. So we go a little bit in the direction of the caramel. Not too far, because I still could use more bananas. I blend one more time, because the almonds take a little bit of time to blend, because they are nuts and have not been soaked. So here they have a little bit of time to soak in the bananas. So we'll blend it another time to make it a little creamier in a moment. Let's see if that worked. Looks nice, yeah. I think that worked, yeah. Yeah, good. Very nice. The flavor is very nice. So really, it's a work here with this almond kind of flavor. I show you what it looks like. It runs onto the second layer here. It should keep. Yeah, perfect. So you can fill now the glass to the top. That has a third layer still coming on there. You see that nice? Looks amazing, right? This kind of dessert is so easy to make, and you can be so creative when you do that. See, it is enough for a second glass. I can use my scraper to get it full. You can be very creative with these layers, because you can always create small differences in color and texture and flavor, and there's an endless variety. So they have two layers now. The third layer is very simple. I just have here these passion fruits, and they have these kernels, and they are very sweet and sour, wonderful sweet and sour flavor. I guess that's a perfect topping. The 3 passion fruits I have here, and I will make a nice little topping on each of my glasses. So I have a wonderful dessert here, and I would really be happy to welcome here one of my friends to join me. Otherwise, I will be, I have to eat on my own. See? 2 delicious desserts. Wouldn't you like? Amazing, right? I'm looking forward to it, and I definitely will go on exploring the persimmon. It is an endless variety, and it's not by chance that persimmon has spread all over the planet. It comes from China, and basically we have 2 different kinds of persimmons. There are many, many more kinds, but basically 2 very different kinds. The one has more tannin, that is bitter. The other one is sweeter, with less tannin. Both are nice to eat, but especially the one with the tannin, more tannin, has to ripen more and more. You can't almost eat it before it's ripe. The other one with less tannin, one like I had, you can eat also if it's a little firmer. Especially the one with tannin, you should peel it, because the tannin is mostly in the peel, and even if it's ripe, the peel remains bitter. So if you have or tart, if you have a persimmon from the supermarket, sometimes they are with tannin, and you eat it and you don't wonder, why can't I eat the peel? It's so tart, I don't want to eat it. That's because you have one flavor, one special kind of persimmon with more tannin. Then you don't be worried. It's perfectly nice. You just peel it. Yeah, you open the persimmon and peel it, and you spoon it out or so, and then you have no problems. Is there no problem with the tannin? You have just to know. I hope you enjoyed and you like this wonderful dessert. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, and you might even want to subscribe and be vegan on YouTube. You have another recipe every single day, and you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest and Twitter.